how did you get involved with St Jude's?
It's actually quite a funny story. I was lamenting with a girlfriend of mine how boring our lives were. And she said, "Oh, I've just read this book about an amazing woman, Gemma, who set up this school in Tanzania." And so I read it, and of course, inspiration. I had a look at the website, started sponsoring, got the newsletter, and it was around October 2009. There was a call on it to say, are there any doctors out there that can come and do a health check? So I thought, that sounds like a good idea. So that's how I got involved.
Great. So while the team's here, what types of checks do you do?
Yeah. So the reason that the med check started in the first place is the Tanzanian government requires the heights and weights of all the students in the country. So that's why they initially started it. Then they thought, it'd actually be good to have all these kids just having a check over as well. So our philosophy behind the health checks is to be looking for any problems that might be interfering with the children's ability to learn. So we do the heights and weights for the government, but obviously that helps us, particularly with the littlies, monitor their growth, so that if there's problems we can refer them on appropriately. But we also look for other problems that might be affecting their ability to learn as well. And some of the common problems that we picked up initially in those first few years were clinical signs of anemia, so paleness, heart murmurs and things like that. And obviously if you're anemic, you're not going to concentrate properly, so getting that addressed was important. And one of the other very common problems, well, it's a problem for children all over the world, but vision problems, picking up any vision problems early so that they can read appropriately, see the blackboard, see their notes. So the anemia, I understand, is a common problem in anemia in Tanzania, and the reason behind that is manifold. Obviously the diet, because these children are very poor, so they've had very basic, potentially limited nutrition as they've been growing up. Malaria can also impact and have an impact on anemia, and also intestinal worms as well. So certainly I think the anemia has improved. We're not picking up as many signs in the children these days, and I think that's once again with those three things that I mentioned before, the nutrition, the malaria and the worms. So in the year following the first visit I came, the school instituted a deworming program, and I actually think that's made a huge impact because the kids weren't getting regularly dewormed. The other thing is the nutrition of the food that the school's providing has actually improved over the years as well. The first year I arrived, the kids were basically getting beans, ugali, rice, which is not bad at all, nutrition-wise, except that very few vegetables and fruits. And now I see, quite regularly, nearly every day, they're getting serving with their beans and rice and ugali of green vegetables or other vegetables, which is fantastic. These children are from poor families, but smart. And they're here for the long haul. The amount of pressure on them to achieve is huge, and there's a lot of people investing in them with respect to the education, so they need to remain healthy to achieve their goals. So that's why it's been great coming every year to see them get better and better.
How do you find the doctors and nurses to come over here to do the checks?
It's actually been really fun recruiting over the years for the doctors and nurses and the helpers. Initially I didn't know anybody. In that first year I came, we were basically all recruited via the newsletter. But then since then, it's probably about a half to two-thirds of the team is word of mouth. So someone knows someone who has expressed an interest to be involved. But we also do have information on the St Jude's website, so that anybody, they don't have to be from Australia, they can be from anywhere in the world, who have experience in being able to assess a child's health, their vision. So we're very keen to have people who have a very special interest in vision. And this year in 2014 we've been extremely fortunate to have 3 orthoptists come along, and the standard of the eye checks this year has been exceptional, so I'm really, really happy about that. So any doctors, any nurse practitioners who have been trained in child assessment, any people with an interest in eyes, we're very happy to hear from them.